Well, hello there, everybody. How are we all doing? It is your favorite commentator team back once again for another video. Today, it's a little bit of a special one. Evil standing on top of a couch here. That's the commentator team are together once again. So it's Evil and Tack and myself, and we are actually joined as well by a special guest. Raisey is also joining us here. So what we're doing today is a live Q&A session because the new GAVRA League season will be starting up shortly, and we want to just clarify some things, ask some questions to the almighty Raisey, and he will give you his almighty answer. So we'll let Evil stand on the couch right there. But Raisey, let's start off with the academy, if we can. So I know that there's a new academy structure, so how exactly is that going to work for this new season?
Well, almighty, I'm not quite sure about that, but anyway, the academy, we've had two academies so far, as you guys know, but they've worked very, very well, actually. Well, you think they've worked very, very well. We've had drivers coming in with driving the right way for the Gavra style, if you like, and we feel it's worked really well, but we want to sort of to ramp things up a little bit. The existing academy runs over 5 races, each individual event's like it's like a mini championship almost, but each individual event is run in separate cars, different cars. So we wanted to keep that, but add like a more realistic championship element to it. So that original part will still be running, but it'll be run as completely one-off sort of separate events, not as part of a championship structure. Then after that, there will be another, like a second half that is run as a championship structure, where everyone's driving the same car over a shorter period of time. So we've got 4 or 5 races in the first half and 5 or 6, we haven't quite decided yet, races in the second half run as a championship structure with the protest and incident review. All that kind of thing is in place. Teams, everything as it would be in a championship, but just condensed to sort of give the new drivers a bit of a feel or a taste of what they actually will be doing when they go to the full licensed championships. So we've got that structure of the individual cars, drivers can get a taste of variety and whatever, and then the second half is the actual, like a mini championship that reflects what we do in the real ones, if you like.
Right. So now I know there was a few. Now the academy were pretty good last year in turning up for races. Will there be any changes in the way of in relation to making sure drivers commit to a season?
Well, we've thought about this. Actually, I should have prefaced before we started that it's not just me. Of course, this is Gavra's League, and he's the guy, the benevolent, shadowy, benign dictator behind everything, right?
All hail Gavra, by the way.
Yeah. So the only reason I'm kind of here doing this is because Gavra is Italian, English is not his first language, and of course English is my first language, so it's a lot easier for me to do this than it is for Gavra. But what was your question? I was kind of lost.
It was will there be any changes in relation to making sure?
That's right, participation.
Yeah, you got
it. Yeah. Well, it's quite hard to do that because you can't force people to compete. All you can do is sort of put a structure there that encourages them to finish or whatever. So with drawing, and this is one of the things PCARs too. We don't understand their licensing system just yet, or their the way they do that. We're kind of hoping on what we know to leverage what PCARs do is bringing, and that there's a participation or a completion sort of factor. So the more events you complete, your completion factor goes up. So if you drop out of events and that your ratio goes down. So we're hoping to use that So you keep your, we don't really know yet, but just off the top of my head, keeping your ratio above 0.75 or something. If you drop below that, there might be sanctions or whatever. Also, there's been a problem in the past with drivers not turning up, or at least not announced. People miss races, there's emergencies or life intervenes. So there's no real issue with that. But what we do have a problem with is drivers not announcing that they're going to race. So we're expecting people to be there and then they don't turn up. So that's something we can do about, because they either tell us or they don't. If they don't tell us, there's going to be quite a stiff license penalty on your driver's license. Carries 15 points, right? So through various incidents and whatever, your license, Bowie's probably very familiar with this, your license gets knocked back. So we're going to put quite a stiff, probably about 10 points on your license penalty. So if you miss a race unannounced, you're significantly impacted. So if you do it again, then you're automatically suspended because you lose those remaining points. Or if you're involved in incidents, again, your license points might come off and impact your thing. So as I said, we can deal with that, but drivers dropping out, rage. We have a couple of rage quitters around and things like that. So if that happens, then we're hoping to leverage PCAR's to sort of licensing features to put a ceiling or a cap or a limit or whatever on that participation factor.
Right. Now, of course, he did mention licenses. There is a new license scheme coming in to the GAVRA League. Can you talk us through that a little bit as well?
Yeah, what we had originally was like the bronze, silver, gold, platinum arrangement, which worked reasonably well, but we just felt Gavra thought actually there was too many. There was one too many, and not only that, we could bring it back to 3, a freshman, give it a bit more of a sort of a more descriptive gold or silver. It doesn't really describe anything, but giving it a different name like freshman, the name communicates the license, or where the license is. Freshman, premier, and super. Right, that's the progression. And also there's the academy, which, because of its extended kind of format now, takes care of the bronze license, or what used to be the lower level license, what used to be the bronze license. That kind of effectively takes care of that because of its, as I said, its extended format. So we're getting freshmen coming in that are actually more at a silver level.
Right.
We've had to fudge around with it right now because we've had to condense silver and gold into premier. Super is platinum, of course, and bronze is freshman. So right now there's a bit of a mishmash of people maybe not quite where they should be. But that's okay. It's just this one time when the new academy starts up. Once that's done, then it'll be flowing a bit more seamlessly, we hope.
Right, and just to add on to that, what would be the way a driver would progress from, say, example, a premier to a super license? How would they get to their super license?
It's basically the same as what we've been doing. A successful completion of a season automatically grants you the next license up. So you complete your academy, then you automatically, as long as you complete it successfully. By successful, that doesn't mean you have been successful in terms of race results or table placing or points or whatever. That's not the success we're looking for. That's the individual success. That's good for you, but that's not what GAVRA Racing's concerned about. What we're concerned about is that drivers can drive safely and without, or relatively incident-free. All that fair, clean driving stuff. So what we look at is we review that. How has your race incidents been? The on-track behaviour, if you like. There's also the off-track behaviour. We don't want people nutting off in the chat and we don't want that kind of thing, right? So because it's really that really just destabilises the group. People going off and chat about, oh man, you hit me off on this corner, and then people just lose it, and it never solves anything ever. I've never seen any dispute solved by thrashing it out immediately after the race. I mean, that's never solved anything. So it's that on-track and off-track behaviour that, comportment that sort of takes you to the next level. So if you do everything right from that point of view, then you go to the next level. So it's nothing to do with race results. It's all to do with your attitude and the way you conduct yourself on and off the track.
Right. So we'll keep on that sort of level topic. What kind of series can we expect per license tier?
Okay. The first time around, we've kind of had to take a stab at what people, we've developed over time, as we all have, we've developed a sort of a sense of what people like to do. You can tick GT3. Everyone loves GT3, right? So that's a no-brainer. Mm-hmm. The new touring cars, we think that'll have appeal. Formula C is always popular as well. It's a great open wheel. Formula Renault, at the higher levels, FA, or there's a new FX which is similar to FA. So the GT4, of course, these are the stock standard classes that everybody kind of likes. So we've gone with the safety first. So at the lower level, the freshman level, you've got your GT4s, your Formula Cs, that kind of stuff. At the middle tier, at the moment, we've got GT3, Formula Renault, IndyCar, which is a new one we think might be popular. And at the higher level, we've got on the GT side of things, GT1 and the FA FX. However, we put GT3 in because of the numbers. The super numbers, or the super, what used to be platinum, the license level, is a little bit thin right now, the numbers. So we've moved GT3 down to the Premier level. Next season, when there will be quite a significant jump in the super numbers, will be because GT3 we view as the premier. GT1, I don't know how popular that will be, but everyone wants GT3. That's the premier GT class as far as we're concerned. We're going to move that up to super, which is going to disappoint some people, I guess. So that'll be moving up, and what we envisage is GTE will be taking the place of the GT3 in the premier level.
Right. So just keeping on the GT3 topic, we saw in the in the two groups we had in the previous season that there was quite a bias towards certain cars. So what will be the case in keeping variety within the series?
Yeah, we thought long and hard about this because it is a problem. Especially with P-Cars too. Everyone's going to want to drive the Ferrari, right? So. Or, there's going to be one at the Nissan, for example, everyone's going to want to drive. There's going to be 2 or 3 cars that everybody's going to want to drive them.
Exactly.
There's going to be a generalization. So we can't have a field full of Ferraris. It's not GT3. It becomes a Ferrari event. We had this experience in GT4 a couple of seasons ago, if you remember. Yep. It was all Ginettas.
Yeah.
Because the Ginetta was quite clearly the best car. So everybody wanted to. If you weren't driving a Ginetta, then you weren't in the race. So. That's kind of an extreme example because in the GT4 the Ginetta actually is clearly the better car. In GT3 it's much more even, but people have I want to drive the Ferrari, right? So we thought about this and how are we going to fix this problem, because it is a problem. How can we be fair about it? What used to happen is that we used to register on the website. You'd put your car in. You register in the car you wanted to drive, but that, if people couldn't get to the website, or if they found out about registration a day late, then suddenly they're left with no options that, that they don't, they feel bypassed, they don't have a fair crack at what they want.
Yeah.
So what we've done, and, this is all yet to be borne out in sort of a concrete example, but what we imagine is this, that drivers will, to the race organizer, each driving team, there's 8 teams, each team will put forward the car they want to drive in a sort of a blind submission to the race organizer, not in the group chat. So you're not sort of seeing, this person's got that, so I won't choose that, or or whatever. So you do it in a blind submission to the race organizer. So the race organizer gets a list of 8 cars.
Right.
Team A wants the Ferrari, Team B wants the Nissan, Team C wants the, I don't know, the Lambo, Team D wants the M6. Okay, so that's fine. So if there's a unique car in that list, bang, you've got it.
Right, yeah.
If there's double ups in that list, then the double up cars, or the teams that have the double up cars go into a random draw. So there's a choice aspect to it, but if your choice is actually chosen by somebody else, so there's 2 or 3 teams that choose, we go back to the Ferrari because that's going to be the popular one probably. If 2 or 3 teams choose the Ferrari in that first sort of submission, then they go into those 2 or 3 teams go into a random draw. So one of those teams will get the Ferrari, but that'll be done randomly. You get your initial submission, your choice, but if you choose something that somebody else is going to choose, then you go into a randomized draw for that. So one of those, say there's 3 teams want the Ferrari, one of those teams in that random draw will get the Ferrari. Those other 2 teams go back into a second round of submission. So we're hoping that a lot of teams will choose, they might be sensible and think, well, everyone's going to choose a Ferrari, so I'm going to choose something else that that I like, that maybe I think first round I'll get a good crack at actually getting this. If you choose a Ferrari, you're going to go into a random draw with it. So let's choose something that we might get a decent crack at. So after that first, sorry, I'm kind of rambling a bit with this and maybe talking too fast, but once that first randomized draw is done, someone gets the Ferrari, the other 2 go back into the pool with other teams, perhaps that have had double ups, and they again blindly submit to the race organizer. But there'll be a list of cars that are gone, so the Ferrari will be gone. Any other car that has been uniquely chosen is gone. So all those cars are out of the running. So there's only cars that haven't been chosen left. So you'll get a list of those, and you choose one of those cars. Any double ups again, it'll just go through the same process. So eventually we'll get to a point where everyone's got a unique car. Everyone's had a choice. And Dan's just, my driving partner's just messaged me if you talk a bit simpler or slower or something.
You're
sorry,
doing
Dan.
great
Sorry,
racing.
Dan.
Give him encouragement.
Yeah. Sorry, Dan. So anyway, do you understand what's going on with that?
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah.
We got the point. Evil, would you like to ask a question there?
Well, we have got just looking at the chat, we have, I believe, one question which I don't understand from a Thomas Ely 2001. Regarding new events, what are we likely going to be seeing when Transfer Project Cars 2 is complete? ?
That question sort of relates to the registration process.
Yeah.
As I said, we've got a list of cars that I've mentioned a few before. A list of cars that we think, or we know a couple of them are very popular. We've added a couple of new ones in, like the IndyCar, touring cars, FX. We've added these in at the different levels. And in the register, I might just add, in that sort of level, in that sort of leveled area, also in the freshmen, there's a sort of default setting, or the possibility of a default setting championship. So if enough drivers register, they can run in guitars. Well, they can probably do that too, but they can run in cars that are running with default. They're not custom set up. But anyway, getting back to the registration, there's a list. The license levels will be there. So you've got your Super, your Premier, and your Freshman. Something else I might just add. Sorry, guys, I'm sort of going back over stuff I should have talked about earlier. With the license levels, only Supers can compete at Super level. At Premier level, Supers and Premier, like the next level down. So Supers have access to everything, right? Premiers have access to Premier and Freshman leagues. Freshmen's only have access to Freshman leagues. So basically, supers have access to everything. Freshmen only have access to freshmen, if you understand what I mean. So,
Yeah, makes
so
sense.
the license level sort of cascades down. So back to the registration. Each sort of license level has cars or classes that you can register to. From memory, I think there are about 12 or 15 different classes or championships in total. So supers will have access to the whole lot. You choose a first choice and a second choice. So if we get enough registered for the first choice, and that gets locked in. If you choose a first choice that like only one or two people, then you go to your second choice. So that's kind of the basic structure. Again, we've yet to sort of see how that will work in practice, but we think it should function okay.
Right.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. You're doing good.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
just
thank you.
evil's disappeared.
Yeah.
There's a few questions in the chat I want to ask. One from me, as I watched.
Yeah, I saw that.
I've got a question here for myself about if we do oval racing. Now, normally in oval racing, the class is immediately a safety car. Is that going to be something that we do in here as well?
I know nothing about oval racing. Oval racing series, I don't think we'll be doing one. We won't be doing one this time, I'm pretty sure. As one-off events, we might do one, and if it's popular, we might do a championship next time. But that's not a question I can really answer. We don't have that detail yet.
Okay, right. Just another question from the chat there. We got two more. Sorry. It was just if GT3 is actually no, that's not correct. Actually, GT3 has actually been moved down, not up. Is it? Well, I'll just take half of the question. What championships will be available at freshman level is being asked.
Okay, there's touring cars, GT4, Formula C, and I can't remember the other one. Oh, and the default, what we call the club championship, the default championship, there will be Formula Renault available as well. So there's the two GT style or tin top classes and two open wheels. Do you have that? I don't have that list in front of me. Soup, do you have it there?
I can pull it up actually. Just give me 1 second. If any of you have the chat open, there's another question there. So if you'd like to ask that, while I search for that.
So another question from Thomas in 2001 saying, Gavra Racing hosts a variety of special events, which are all good. However, with new cars and tracks are future special events such as the Indy 500, which we can't do, of course, because there's a limit to laps, Le Mans, etc., going to be possible, perhaps?
In a word, yes. We will be, once the new season's underway, we haven't really focused on that because the new season's got priority now, the championships. But once that's underway, then we can look ahead a bit more. One of the ones that we've had in the past is Clash of the Clans. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yep.
But that was quite a popular event. Drivers quite liked that. So we're gonna have some events we would like to do annually. That's one of them. We will be looking at things like Le Mans and Indianapolis, and these kinds of iconic things. Putting these into the count, don't take my word for this, but this is the kind of thing we're looking to do in sort of one-off events. Is have special events and maybe sort of a reflection of real life. Real life events. Of course, with the championship seasons, they're actually quite long. They're about 3 months long, right? So the windows for one-off events like this are quite small. So, we can't have everything. We might just be able to have a few. But in a word, yep, we are looking to try and do that.
Yeah,
Would that be a 24-hour Le Mans, like proper real-time 24-hour, or would it be like 2-3 hours in game?
Well, it'd be 2 or 3 hours in game, I suppose. 24 hours would be nice, I guess.
It would be cool.
Maybe in the future. I did manage to pull up that championship list. The Freshman League, there was GT4 Touring Cars and Formula C, and the default club series would be the Formula C, Formula Renault, the Mercedes A45 Touring Car, and the BMW GT4. that'll be available there.
Right. Thanks, Luke.
Question from Nico. Evening, guys. I'm not sure if this has been covered already, but how is GRL going to use the new stuff of Project Cars 2?
And that's going to be Gavra Racing League going to use the new stuff.
New stuff?
Yeah, probably. I'm assuming he's using in relation to the competitive racing license and the broadcast features and stuff. I'm assuming that's what he means.
Yeah, well, you guys are probably best placed to answer the stuff about the broadcast, but we touched on the license. Nico wasn't here earlier, but we touched on the license thing, how we're looking to incorporate, especially the other side of the licensing is kind of the grading of your, rough drivers have a lower grading, tidier, fairer, neater drivers have a high. We're not sure how we're going to work with that. Maybe we won't, but definitely the participation sort of factor, we want to leverage, as I said before, we want to leverage that to sort of keep up the participation in the races and the leagues.
Yeah. Yeah, the broadcast features are definitely something we're going to utilize with all the new stuff on it. Live timings are coming into it now, so we can have the professional scroll bar at the bottom with all the position being updated in real time.
That would definitely help out.
We can keep up with qualifying laps just on the side of the screen. We can also have somebody doing the cameras for us instead of us doing it ourselves. So it's going to be a whole lot easier to keep up with the action and stuff. So we're looking forward to utilizing all of that.
Yeah, it looks really good. Just a question on that. Currently the limit for consoles is 16, but we have to, if we want to broadcast, we have to knock one or two off that. So effectively, the grid's only 14 or 15. Mm-hmm. In PCARS 2, I understand that the grid actually will be 16 with 2 sort of extra slots for a broadcaster and director. Is that right, or is it still 14?
It is a full 16-player grid. There is 2 separate slots for now. If we had 2 commentators, you might have to knock one off that list, so it might be a 15 grid. Because I'm not sure if there's a spectate for. I'm not sure how many spectator slots exactly there are for commentators,
right.
But I think it's 1 and 1. But we'll figure that when that comes out. Yeah.
Talking about lobby size here, got another comment from Thomas Ethan saying about if it is more than 16, which has been speculated. That we're not too sure. Would this hopefully allow for things like possible multi-class championships to perhaps come in, like GT3 and like LMP cars, for example?
I guess it does allow for those possibilities. In reality, if you're running a multi-class race, then effectively you're, I'm assuming like. Le Mans, you have a whole bunch of different classes running in the same race, so you have individual championships within the one race. So unless you've got your cars evenly balanced, you'd have to run, separate classes within the one race. But that effectively reduces your grid numbers. Effectively reduces the numbers in your championship to half or a third or whatever. So I'm not sure how appealing that would be with. In a 30 on the PC version with 32 cars, then that's definitely something that could be done. But with 16, it kind of dilutes the achievement, I guess, of winning a class.
Right.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you can. Go ahead.
Do you think there'll be an app on the phone for Project Cars 2, so you can look at live timings and stuff like that on your phone instead of looking at it on PlayStation?
That would, if it was being made, it'd probably be, it'd probably have to be somebody who's not part of the Slightly Mad Studios. I don't think that's something they're going to do because it'd take a whole lot of It'd take a whole lot of UDP to do that, but I think the live timings will actually be up on the screen for you anyway. But I mean, who was it? Van Elk actually made a timing app for us on Project Cars 1 that we use now and again.
I've seen that, yeah.
Just another question there from Nico Perez just coming in there. He says, just like the career mode, are we going to make factory teams and private teams? And with that, might we have teams with only one car or more than 2 cars?
Okay, so the question is kind of what the question is what's the team thing going to be?
Essentially,
so,
yes.
So currently we run, the basis is on, and we're taking this forward into the next championship, is that the championship run is run on a team basis, 2 cars and 1 team. That's what we've done in the past. That's what we're going to do next. Everyone's familiar with that structure. Having a 3-car team, again with only a 16-car grid. If you have a 3-car team, well, that 3 doesn't go into 16, so you got a sort of a remainder there that doesn't fit. Having it and running it as an independent, like in our one-off events, we don't typically operate on a team basis. It's all one-off, right? So you drive as an independent. We're not doing that for these championships, but for future championships, it's possible that some classes or cars will be run independently. But from our experience, the team-based thing, 2 cars, but it's a lot of fun, driving with a partner and helping each other with your setup and communicating about driving. It sort of accelerates your learning, we feel.
Right. Just like commentating.
Yeah.
Easy to do.
So running as independent is a little bit more well, it's a little bit more independent, isn't it? But some drivers like that. So we could look at, if that's a popular choice, we might look at that in the future, of course.
And just there's another kind of interesting one just coming in there. With the new features, will it be possible to implement in-race penalties rather than retrospective ones? So, such as drive-through penalties for not giving back a position, etc.
I think, from what I understand, PCAS 2 handles this a lot better. Yeah. For example, from what I understand, this is all kind of speculation from what I've heard at the moment. Of course, we don't really know yet, but from what I've heard, the pit entry and pit exit is automatically policed in game. Like we tried to do that with the penalty system outside of the game. If you saw someone cutting in or cutting across the pit exit or pit entry lane to get a quick entry or exit from the pits, if you saw that, then that would be able to be penalised. But as I understand, PCAS 2 does it automatically. And the other aspects of it, rather than have someone slowing down for a 5-second penalty right in front of you, which is a real hazard, then PCAS 2 is dealing with that differently. Again, we don't really know how that's going to work. But we're hoping that these things will be a lot better, and so things can run a bit more efficiently, safely.
Yeah, exactly.
There are a few more questions that have come in.
I think it says that they're kind of directed more towards us, I think, because it's more social media and...
Guys, I don't mean to... Well,
you've got to go, haven't you?
To go, but yeah. So, thanks for the opportunity to, sort of communicate or sort of clarify a little bit more about what we're doing. We're very excited about the new season, and I must mention, Gavra started all this.
Yeah.
And I started in the second Formula Golf Championship. I think you came in around that time.
Yeah, myself and Evil did actually. Both of us did.
Yeah, and others like Victro and that have been around for quite a while. So I'm sorry if I'm not mentioning everybody, but everyone that's been involved from those early days have really made Gavra Racing what it is today, and especially Gavra. We sort of rely. He's like the guy's like Sasquatch, right? He sort of you get fleeting glimpses of him. He comes in, he goes, and nobody really knows him, but he's like a sort of benign dictator that lives in the shadows. But really, he's the guy that started all this, and we're all really appreciative of what he's done, how his vision, I guess. It's his vision that's got us here.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And just to Gavra on behalf of everybody, thank you very much for putting this together. So.
And like Sasquatch, we've never actually heard him speak, but
Yeah.
but anyways, maybe one day we'll hear God's voice.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
We're...
Yep. Thanks, guys. Got to run.
All right. See you later.
See you, Raisey.
Yep. Cheers.
We're actually going to keep going here, because we've got actually a few questions directed to ourselves, which is interesting.
Evil's just being invited back in.
Okay, well, we've got one from Ethan there. Something most other communities do is having multiple social media pages, for example, Instagram and Twitter. Would you consider doing this in a strategic way of gaining more members?
Yes.
It's an interesting one. Well, of course,
Yeah.
it's definitely a yes there. We already do have a Twitter page, but it's quite inactive. Partly
Yeah,
due
well-
that's my fault. But
Because you forgot the password and all that.
no, I didn't actually. I remembered it. But the Instagram would be an interesting one. I don't know what we'd actually post there. I suppose race results and
Yeah, you just post like pictures of stuff and pictures of race results, like you said, or links to like YouTube to races and stuff like that.
we will go with the fun question next. Which cars and track do you most look forward to driving on? On Project Cars 2, of course. And we'll come to the next question just after. Myself,
I have no idea.
myself, I'm really looking forward to driving the Indy cars around Indianapolis, and I'm also looking forward to driving both Old Monza and Old Spa. They look very, very good fun, especially the banking around Monza. But in general, the Indy cars are what I'm really, really looking forward to.
Well, indeed. Well, yeah. Means you definitely want to just do IndyCar because, yeah.
IndyCar is just fantastic. But next, is it planned? This is an interesting one. Is it planned to have communication between the commentators and drivers before the race concerning possible pit strategies, tyre choices, etc.? Now, we have done that a few times.
It'd be like interviewing.
Our man on the
Right,
well,
we've
but
done
not
that
quite
with Vowing.
interviews. It'd be quite like I think it was
In-race
that and Vectro giving us his sort of in quotation marks strategy before the race, so then we can gauge off other people what the strategies can be. But I mean, definitely it's one that we can definitely do. I mean, we can also maybe we try post-race interviews if we can. But
That'd be good.
But yeah, definitely communication between the drivers it's probably a great thing to do, you know. It's you're giving life to virtual cars. No more questions are coming in, so I think we can round it off on that. I think that's
no,
never mind.
Who said that?
No, never mind.
Oh, well, never mind.
That's a ban, by the way. But
Yeah.
I saw the movie It the other day. I was so scared.
IT.
It's just it's
It.
It's
Yeah.
called
it.
It did look pretty scary, the trailer.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's scary, but
The clowns.
man, that is nasty. Anyways, but
No need for the swearing.
I know the swearing is fine, just it's yeah. But
Yeah,
I think
it's not.
if nobody has any more questions, we'll give a minute's grace just in case there's a delay in the stream. So any more questions, please get them in now.
Hashtag give us questions.
But if there aren't any, we will round out the stream now because it is quite late. I might add.
Are you coming on, Evil?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I can't get into your apartment because I'm not able to get in.
It's not mine, it's Soup's.
Get me into your apartment, Joe.
Not now.
Oh.
But yeah, don't think there's any. Yeah, Nico's asking F1
Nico,
to
F1 2017 champions.
We don't know. I should have asked that. Possibly. It's definitely open for
Question
debate.
mark.
But I'd obviously like to see one.
It's F1. Everyone wants F1 2017, I think.
Well, so do we. But
Yeah.
I think
Well, how that goes sometime soon.
we'll add another minute's grace to that. Any more questions, get them in now. Otherwise, we will round it out. Because we've also been going about an hour. Ish.
Yeah, we've been going for a while. It's pretty late.
10 o'clock, nearly.
Almost.
Yep. Oh, in that case, Dips Force India.
Well, I suppose
Yep.
I have
means
no idea what that means.
he wants Force India.
He likes just the pink cars.
Any advice on which
I
Project Cars 2 to buy? They're all pretty much the same, just with added. I mean, the deluxe
DLC.
the deluxe edition just adds a few cars in there, and the really really high end one gives you tickets to the SMS esports league in Germany, as well as a model of a McLaren 570.
Yeah, I think so.
570S.
Oh, we've got more comments coming in as well.
Another question by Thomas.
What plans do you have about streaming every race as much as possible to get content out and expand the channel? Well, I mean, I guess we'll keep doing what we're doing, get more commentators, because there's only, at the moment, there's 4 of us, and we're quite busy this year.
Another couple of questions as well.
What about Gran Turismo Sport? That's an interesting one. I think that's a game everybody's forgotten about.
Oh yeah, Gran
because
Turismo was never the best, really, though.
It's becoming overshadowed by Project Cars 2 because of the amount of features it's bringing. And Gran Turismo Sport, I mean, it does have a focus on esports, of course, but will it have the ability to compete with Project Cars 2 remains to be seen.
It's like, because Project Cars kind of had the more of the better graphics, and then you had like Assetto Corsa and all the other good graphic games, and Gran Turismo's kind of set back, and it's took a while to bring a new Gran Turismo game out.
Yeah, indeed.
It's been a couple of years.
But in
No question. Will we need DLC for tracks?
not as yet. Not as yet.
All tracks that are on the original game will be already on the other game, and all cars as well. I think a few of them were moved. I'm not certain, but you know, and yeah.
But in regards to expanding the channel, I think Evil's actually able to log in now, so
Yeah,
that'll help.
Log into the
That will
channel.
help. Apart from the other
And again, one of you was saying about today downloading like the videos
Yeah,
off like
me.
other people's downloading it
yeah.
off other people's channel and then putting it onto the actual Gavra channel.
Yeah, if by chance, like say if none of us were around and say Tack you were around, we'd take the video off your channel and we'd put it up on the Gavra channel.
Like the other day.
Oh,
Right,
Someone's spamming.
We got spamming. Timeout.
Block.
Anyway, so we're missing a few more questions. There's constantly questions coming in now. God damn it. What do you want to see in DLCs with tracks and cars? I don't want to see DLC at all.
Well, inevitably.
If
we'll
it is
have
DLC, we don't want paid DLC.
Yeah, I mean, if it was a paid DLC, I'd definitely like.
Formula E.
I'd give Formula E, maybe some of the Formula E
Super
tracks would be
GT?
interesting. Super
I know
GT,
someone would be, I know someone would be
GT5,
really
Thomas,
happy about
no,
that.
Ethan, he'd love some GT500.
Probably, I would say a load more oval circuits would be quite nice.
Now, next question.
Did you see the question above?
Yes, I
The
did.
possibility of 24,
Yeah.
yeah.
There isn't
Rally
possibility.
cross as well.
Well,
No, there isn't.
there might be a possibility of 24. I mean,
Never know.
maybe in a future patch, perhaps. But next, will there be some highlight videos with the best overtakes? 2-hour streams are really longish to watch, at least non-live. I agree on that.
Yeah, me and Soup were talking about a few days ago about probably editing some videos down a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
That'd be a good idea, yeah.
It is quite time consuming. That's the only thing.
Like, probably, I was talking before stream to Tack, and he said possibly doing just the highest level, perhaps editing them down, and perhaps maybe one or two others occasionally.
Yeah, or if we can just employ somebody to do it.
I don't mind doing it.
I can do it easily. Got Adobe Premiere.
Next, will we
Doesn't
have
take long.
And next question: will we have commentary for each race if we have more championships? Commentary schedule to be announced.
To be announced. We need our pay job, yeah. Pay rises.
What about Rallycross?
Which is from 0 to something.
Yeah. What about Rallycross?
That would be awesome, but I don't think it's coming.
There was no mention of it.
Well, we have got I do believe we have kind of got light Rallycross, but like I can't remember what it's called.
No, we've got RX Light and full Rallycross. We've got both.
Yeah.
But
User was banned.
but I would love myself to see some Rallycross because it is.
Rallycross would be good.
Yeah. Any more questions?
I think it depends what Rallycross would you think of, like the proper Rallycross that's on like that. Yeah, WRC.
Yeah. The Monster Energy series.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of with Ken Block and
Ken Block, Johan Kristoffersen, Peter Solberg.
Something.
Yeah.
Name.
What's his name?
That would be good,
Sebastian
doing
Loeb.
the Jokers and everything.
The Joker laps,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll do our best to get commentary for every race.
Intros to videos, intro videos to streams / overlays. I believe we possibly could do that soon. I think they have got the option coming slowly, getting there.
For what?
Yeah. I think for overlays, you can now put overlays on things. I'm pretty certain I read it up.
That would require a capture card, wouldn't it?
Video?
I'm not certain. We'll have to check that, I think.
But overlays would definitely require a capture card, which I cannot afford.
No, neither can I.
Also neither, unless we get hooked up.
I mean, F1 has the actual F1 intro, but we'll get copyrighted if we use that.
Actually, it doesn't.
Wait, what?
My videos get copyrighted.
Another question.
Have you decided something about a race on a weekend?
That's not happening, as far as I know.
Yeah,
The schedule for races are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's the days for
Because
races.
weekends is pretty much when everyone gets like days off and they want to spend time with family and stuff.
Invitational events may take place on those days, and
Yeah, there's nothing stopping
and
us.
why did it? And the most important question: why does it take so long until 22nd September?
Because Gavra wants to make us wait. It's all him. He is God. All hail.
Oh hell.
All right, it's 10 o'clock. I think we should round it out there, boys.
It's actually,
Definitely.
yeah, it is 10.
It's been a good one. It's been a good Q&A, actually. Very informative.
I think there is an already over there as well. So
Yeah, I did actually mention that earlier in the stream, actually, with the live timing on the side of the screen. That is available.
You did.
I did. So, I think we'll round it out there, boys. Any night races planned? I'm assuming there'll be one or two there around the night. That's happened every season so far.
night time.
But yeah, we're definitely going to round it out now. It's very late. It's 10 o'clock. And
Yeah.
I think we should chill out for the rest of the night. But thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed, and we'll see you next season.
Bye.
So from all the commentary team, have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.